Today I'm going to do a Lightroom and Photoshop tutorial. This baby is from my last workshop and her name's Yara and she's 6 days new, weighs 7 pounds and 3 ounces. I took 192 images throughout the workshop and I've managed to cull it down to 40. You can see here, I mean these are all straight off of camera, and I'm just going to go and click on these ones, the mug shots. So I'm going to select the first one, holding the shift key, select the last one in the set, and then I'm going to come up here to photo and flip vertical. Alright, clicking on the first image, I'm going to select on the develop mode, and you know, I'm pretty happy with that picture. So I might just lift the shadows up just a tiny bit, so maybe plus 20. And these up a touch. I'm just lifting the shadows just a bit. Nope, I like that the way it was. And that one. And this one looks a bit darker and a bit more yellow. So I'm just going to try cooling down the white balance to 5500. Just taking it down a touch there, and I'm going to lift the exposure and drop the highlights. Okay, like that. That looks pretty good. Actually, I'm going to just take those highlights all the way down. I'm just going to look on the last one and see. So it's when it finally catches up with me. Might be still on the yellow side. Probably sometimes when you're going closer, the colours get warmer. So I'm just gonna like try plus 10. I think that's a little bit too much. So plus 8. Let's go with that. And I'm gonna sync these two images. Like so. I'm actually sorry, I'm going to just go back to the beginning because that little, oh, what the hell happened there? Because there's a little white speck that I can see. I mean, these images are good enough to send off to a client. I wouldn't edit the skin or anything like that. Literally, I spend about half an hour in Lightroom and send them off. So if I'm going to do it that way, then I may as well just remove any tiny little dots like that. So I'm just going to zoom in. I'm using the healing tool, using the bracket keys to make the brush size larger, and I'm going to click on fit. Yep, that looks pretty good. Just going to go into the next one, do the same thing. I'm going to zoom in to 100%, use the healing tool, and then just going to go here. Alright, and then click on fit again and click off the healing tool. Right, next one. Again, it's like quite yellow, so I'm just going to do plus 8, moving it away from the greens into the magentas, which I think is nicer. And then I'm just going to bring those highlights down like so. And minus 8. Oh, nope. Plus 8. Okay. And we've got that little dot again. Zoom in. Oops. The healing tool just over that little dot there. Might as well just doing the others whilst I'm here. Okay. Click on it so it doesn't distract me. I can also see here. See how that works. Click off. Yep, that does a pretty good job of getting rid of that. Okay, so now I can see this one here. Alright, that's fine. Alright, click off, and then I'm just going to bring up the exposures a bit. Sorry, I'm going backwards and forwards a touch. Alright, that's fine. And then on this one, so we can see quite a lot of yellow over here. So I'm going to try the +10, see what that does. Yeah, it's reduced it nicely. I'm going to just decrease the shadows a little bit, not much, like +10. It's decreasing the shadows by +10. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to go through all these colours, because obviously this area is meant to be white. So I'm just going to make sure that there are no crazy magentas in there. There's usually some. And just decrease the saturation by -100, and then the blues, quite often get blues in whites, -100, just desaturating these colours in this image, and the greens. And now I'm going to go into the yellows, because this is still like yellowy orange. I'm just going to see if it affects the actual face of the baby. Yeah, it doesn't really, so I'm just going to take the yellows all the way down. Alright. And then I'm just going to see what it's like with this. Nope, I prefer it like that. Okay, and now I'm happy with that. I'm going to select all of the images in this set and I'm going to synchronize like so. And I'm very much hoping that it's going to have made all the adjustments. So if I just click on here just to check, yep. Fabulous, all these ones are done. Alright, going to go to the next one. +10 again, bringing in some, moving it away from the green tint into the magenta tint. And then I am going to come down here and I'm going to uncheck enable profile corrections, because I like the vignette that happens with the dark wood. I prefer it. Alright, once that's done, then I'm going to come up and just lift the shadows a little bit, drop those highlights, and then up the exposure. Drop those highlights a bit more. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Just drop the contrast down just a touch as well. Okay, that looks fine. So I'm happy with that, and I'm going to click all of them to sync, and then I'll just run through them. Up the exposure a bit more on that, and more on this one. Just drop the shadows back down. Lift the exposure. Okay, alright, then we're on to these ones. So I'm just going to click on the crop tool, and it's a little bit wonky, so I'm just going to rotate round. I'm using where the face is, not the bucket, to straighten the picture up. And then I'm just going to take it in like that. And there's this tiny little dot there, so I'm just going to click on the healing tool here and here, and click on it again so it removes those little markers. What I am going to do is come down and uncheck the enable profile correction. So now I've done that, I'm going to up the exposure just a little bit. Bring down those highlights. Okay. click on that healing tool to go on there. That's it. And I am just going to bring this in a bit. Rotating it slightly and lifting it up. Sorry, I'm just going to bring that down just a bit. Okay, and the next one, I'm going to bring down the highlights, and I'm going to come down and uncheck this. Oh God, didn't do those ones. Okay, just gonna lift the shadows up a touch on that one and the exposure. Lifting it up and lifting it up there. And I'm just gonna rotate it around. Sorry, I'm going backwards and forwards a little bit here, aren't I? All right. Okay, lifting up the exposure, bringing those highlights all the way down, rotating the baby just slightly like this, and then I'm going to bring it into the edges of the mat, like that. Okay, click enter. Those shadows just a tiny bit. Yep, that looks nice. We'll go on to the next one. Bring those highlights back down, and then I'm just going to crop in. I'm going to leave that side where it is for the time being. This one needs to be recentered a bit more, so I'm just going to come in like so. Lift the highlights, sorry, lift the exposure and then drop the highlights just a little bit, like minus 25, 26. And then using the healing tool, go into that one there, that little dot. Up the exposure, bring down those highlights, and just bring it in just a little bit. I might even just take it up right up to there, spin it a little tiny bit. Okay, and that's those ones done. And this one I am going to sorry, I was doing the cropping on those and I didn't do it on the other ones. I normally do it last. But anyway, I'm just going to reduce those highlights all the way down, and then I am going to come down to here. Definitely want to make sure the profile correction is on for these ones. Reduce the contrast just a bit, and then I think that's pretty good. Bring down the exposure just a little bit. Okay, and then let's just sync all of, oh, and I am going to do +10 to reduce the greens in the floor. All right, now that's done, I'm going to click on all of these, oh, these ones, and then I'm going to sync. Okay. Then I'm just going to go into them one by one, just double check. Yep, up the exposure just a tiny bit there. Up the exposure here. and here. And up the exposure there as well. Bring back those shadows a touch. Okay, and then I'm just we've got a new dot going on. Wasn't in this one. Although I'm here, I mean, I think I said earlier that these are good enough to send to the client without me having to do any work in Photoshop, so I really wouldn't want to spend more than half an hour. Let's go in a bit closer. I wouldn't want to spend any more than half an hour in Lightroom, but I may as well just do these. Okay, let's just do that one and click off so I can see what's happened. That looks pretty good. Whoops, pretty good to me. So go into the next one and use the clone tool again. I'm using the bracket keys to increase and decrease the size of the brush. I've got a little bit here on the eyebrow and there. Just whizzy down. This isn't so noticeable on this one, but still. Okay, and then fit, take it back and click, see what we've done. That looks good. I'm going to go into the next one, do exactly the same thing. Just make sure the brush size is just a tiny bit bigger than the area you want to remove. Oh, what happened there? Just delete that. Okay, a little bit on our eyebrow. I don't know how long I've spent on this, but I really want it to be under half an hour. Right, fit, and then click off, go into the next one, same thing, right, fit, click off, next one, oh, alright, I'm trying to be a bit faster. Beeps at me when I'm trying to go faster. And then this one here. Okay, fit, click off. All right, I think that's it on those ones. So then I'm just going to come here. I'm going to, you can see how green it is here, can't you? So I'm actually just going to use the eyedropper to see what it says. Now, this is meant to be white on there. I actually really like that, it looks better. So you can see it's actually upped the magentas. It has made it a bit warmer as well, but I like that, it looks good. You can see here it's almost on the verge of being overexposed, not quite. So I'm just going to bring those highlights down to -100. And apart from that, I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, I think that looks good. Let's just have a little look at the shadows. So yeah, I'm just going to up those a touch, and yep, I like that. So now I'm just going to select all of them and sync. And I'm just going to go in and just check them over. Probably could up the highlights on that one. Right, that one looks good. Up the exposure. Just take another look at this one. Okay, just no, I'm going to keep that as it was. Right, that's fine. Up the exposure. I'm always looking at my histogram here. Up in the exposure. And up in it a tiny bit there. You can also drop the whites down as well, which I might just do, just a tiny bit. I mean, the whites tend to make the image more punchy, but I am a little tiny bit concerned about this here. Right, that's good. Up the exposure a bit and then bring those whites down. And that's it. All right, I'm going to whiz back to the beginning and I'm just going to do the cropping. All right, so this is the crop tool and I'm going to hold down the shift key and just crop in here. So that one's done. Just going to come in a little bit closer there, up the exposure just a bit. This one, take that bit down there, so it's a bit more like a 10 by 8. I'm just going to whack that in like that. That one looks fine. This one just needs to be centered a bit more. I think with this one I'm going to use the eyes from this one because they're both sharp, and I'm going to pop them onto this image here where this one is soft. Oh, what's happened? Okay. All right. Just taking that in there. Actually, I'm just going to hold the shift key and come in like this, and then I'm going to come over like that, and also I'm going to twist it, rotate it round. Okay, just straighten this one up a little bit. Don't know actually. Right, like that. And the next one, using the crop tool again, just going to make it roughly the baby's 2/3 of the image. Just go above that nipple, straighten up a little bit, bring that down, centralize baby. That's it. Oh, and we have got some little flecks of cotton or wool or whatever it is. Making the brush smaller, you get a better result when the brush is just slightly bigger than the area you want to remove. And then Control Z if it's doing something crazy like that. Right, here we go. Come on, I need to do this quickly. Right, zoom out. Click off so I can see what's going on. Brilliant. I am just going to come down here just to make sure those blues, but yeah, it's all good. All right, go straight up to the top using that crop tool, just spin it around a bit, and then I'm just going to come in like that, and next one. Rotate a little bit, bring this down a touch, put her in the middle a bit more. And the last one of this batch. So just rotating it round. I'm bringing back the highlights just a bit on this one. Okay. Just rotating a bit and bringing this in here. I'll sort the rest out in Photoshop. Oh, actually like that. Next one. I'm always so wonky when I do training. It's kind of annoying. Right, there we go. That one's almost fine. Just going to bring it in a touch. This one, just going to reduce the top part. Oh, and if we go back here, that looks to me like it's like overexposed, even though it's not saying it here. I would rather just bring that back just a touch and lift the shadows instead, or come down to the curves, the tonal curve, and lift the darks to kind of do it that way. But then I do need to bring some of those blacks back in. Okay, all right, that's fine. I need to move on. Okay, oops. Okay, cropping down there, up there, spin it around a bit. Okay, that looks fine. Oops. Yeah, that's all good. And next one. Then I think I did these ones, didn't I? Just whiz through. I'm just going to up the exposure just a bit on this one. Okay, and this. Oops. There it is. Okay, next one. Alright, so the bed is a bit wonky. I'm going to come down here and click on guided in the transform section. And then I could try auto actually. Auto sometimes does a good job. Or off. I think I might just stick to the guided, and then like that, and then off. Oh no! All right, that looks okay. go to the next one. Just going to centre it up a bit. That was fine. And then I'm going to crop this a bit more up there like this. Bring it down to there. And then we are on to this one. So I'm just going to lift this up a bit. Actually, I'm going to go back and just rotate it around like so. Right, that's fine. Almost fine. Okay. That's all good. Bring down those whites a bit. That's good. That's fine. That's all good. Right, that's it. Okay, Lightroom is finished. So I'm going to shut this down now and then I'll start doing the Photoshop one.